donate button, which, by the way, to everybody who's donated through PayPal, thank you very much.
Yeah, really.
We haven't said anything for a while, and I apologize. Awesome. We appreciate that greatly. There's going to be a couple other places that you're going to find us. Most people are probably not listening on our website. They're going to be listening through iTunes. If you are using iTunes, please take the time to leave a rating and subscribe, because those ratings are what help other people find us, move us up through the charts.
Yeah, write a review, too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
As long as it's glowing.
Yeah. Well, we probably made a bunch of people ill today, so probably don't want them to review it after this.
Yeah.
There are going to be a number of streaming sites and apps that you can listen to us as well through. If you don't use iTunes, there's a whole bunch of them. Just look us up in your app. You'll probably find us because they all pull our feed. We are on Facebook, so we've got the Facebook page and the Facebook group. Those are continually busy and a lot of fun. Definitely track them down and join. You'll enjoy it a lot. We are on Twitter, and that is Thinkin' Sideways without the G. We do tweet occasionally, and we're really good about tweeting back, aren't we?
Yeah.
As Devin is doing Twitter. We also have our email address, so if you have thoughts, comments, concerns, story suggestions, or you have another theory, or you think we got something wrong and you want us to know about it.
We mispronounced a bunch of words.
Or Steve mispronounced a bunch of words,
all
which
of the words.
Steve's going to know he does. Mm-hmm. And Steve is now talking about Steve in the third person, which is extremely weird.
Super weird.
You can send us an email at thinkingsidewayspodcast@gmail.com. I believe that is all of the good information that we have to share with these good folks. So, guys,
we
mentioned merch.
You did mention merch.
I think it is time for us to close this one out.
I agree.
Too, I'm feeling sick.
All right. Really. Bye, guys.
Ta-ta.
Bye, guys.
Hello. We are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. There is a message hidden in this image. Find it, and it will lead you on the road to finding us. We look forward to meeting the few that will make it all the way through. Good luck. 3301.
Thinking Sideways.
I don't understand.
Does not compute.
You never know.
Insufficient data to formulate a reply.
What?
Stories of things we simply don't know the answer to.
Hey, everyone. It's Thinking Sideways, the podcast. Like usual. I'm Devin, joined by
Steve.
And Joe.
So, yeah, let's just go for it, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, what are we doing?
Solving the mystery.
Yeah, obviously.
Sweet.
Definitely not solving this mystery. This is actually, Steve, this is one of the mysteries you're going to hate. Actually, there's this quote about this mystery. It says that not all mysteries are solvable, but prize comes in the pursuit. And I know you hate those ones where, like, there's not an actual answer or anything.
Yeah, I'm not nuts about that.
So tonight we're going to talk about cicada or cicada, depending on you say the name of that insect.
Let's just call it cicada.
Cicada is how I say it, so I'm sorry if that
I think that's
bothers
normal.
you guys.
Yeah.
Cicada 3301, which is... let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to do a preamble.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Yeah.
Cool. On January 5th, 2012, an image was posted to 4chan, which is the best way to get your stuff out there. It was on the /X thread, I guess. I don't know. I don't really use 4chan.
Me
so
neither.
I don't actually know what they call that. Anyways.
Proving our ignorance. Yet again.
The message that we put at the beginning, before we even introduced ourselves, that was attached to an image that was essentially led to a series of clues, basically one more impossible than the next to solve, which led to who knows what, because everybody who solved this mystery or the puzzles, the set of puzzles, is essentially internet silent at this point. There's one person who said that they solved it, but when you read every interview with them, they say they solved it up until it went into real life situations, and then suddenly they were like not part of the solving it anymore. And there are some people, there's a lot of groups on the internet that are chats and forums and all that stuff that work together to solve it, but we're going to talk about the puzzle, so it'll become apparent, but there's only a select few people who've actually probably solved it. There's no confirmation that those people actually exist, that the solvers were actually chosen or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And wasn't it one of the ground rules from 3301 that you had to solve it on your own? You couldn't band together with a bunch of people?
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
It's interesting because they do kind of say that, but also many of the clues are literally unsolvable unless people from around the world come together.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the set of puzzles that came about from the first round of these in 2012, primarily. And we're going to walk through that. You guys are going to hear me talking a lot. But it's super interesting, so listen to my words.
By the way, did you solve the puzzle?
I definitely did not solve the puzzle.
No.
No.
I didn't even bother to try.
No, I think that's the funny thing about the question of one person doing it is it requires such a broad set of skills.
Yeah.
And in terms of understanding code and cryptography and all these things, like there's just such a
Music.
Yeah, it would seem nigh impossible for one person to have all that jammed in their head.
Yeah, definitely made for crowdsourcing.
Yeah, it turns out actually it's not so impossible because we're going to talk about two groups in this, and I was going to wait until later to kind of delve into it, but we'll just say now there's two groups really. They refer to one group as the solvers, which are the people who are the front line, who are actively solving these things, who have the know-how, who are figuring this stuff out, and then the followers who, once this stuff started to hit the forums, let's see, there's forums, web communities, websites, chat rooms, Skype groups, IRC groups, all sorts of different groups around solving these puzzles. And what happens is that there's one or two actual solvers, quote unquote, in that group, and the rest are followers who are getting their information secondhand and going to the websites or submitting the clues or whatever. And they're not actually solving anything, or they're saying they're inputting one little tiny little bit of something. So there's a group of active solvers, and then there's the followers, and the followers are what Joe was talking about a little bit with 3301 was very displeased with the followers, which we'll talk about again in the context of the time.
But the interesting thing is I pondered this particular little mystery is that of all the people on all those chat boards and forums and stuff like that, how do you know that members of 3301 aren't actually, posting comments in there?
Yeah, you don't.
You don't.
No, you don't. You have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the puzzles are, as I said, kind of impossible to solve on their own, and they're impossible for most groups to solve as well. You have to be really, really smart. As Steve was saying, there's a lot of information you have to have in your head to know how to do this. To even you don't even have to have the first-hand knowledge, but you don't have to know how to decode this one specific kind of coding language, but you have to know well enough that that's what that's in, enough to Google how to, for whatever. Anyways.
Yeah, you have to be able to go out and get that one specific thing, which I can't remember the name of it.
Download that one program.
That one program that helps you to find messages embedded in photographs.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
Now that we've trampled all over your train of thought.
Yeah, geez.
Do you want to start back at the beginning?
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. All right. Are you guys ready? Let's talk about...
It's a picture and a message, right?
It starts out that way.
Yeah.
Let's talk about 2012. Since it's the longest ago, and it was kind of the first one, there's good documentation of it. 2013, there's better documentation of the actual puzzle pieces, but not as good documentation of what may have happened after. There's a very distinct breaking point where the followers stop being able to follow the puzzles, which we'll talk about again. I'm sorry to keep doing this. Everybody hates it when I say, "Oh no, we'll talk about that then."
Yeah. That comes after the break.
Yeah, but the stuff after the break from 2012, there's actually some stuff from that. From 2013 and 2014, there isn't really, and actually 2014 it's hard. You can't. I don't even know if it's actually been.
But yeah, I was.
I mean, I think it probably has, but I think that the solvers, have kind of wised up enough to know not to be solving everything. And the span of these puzzles is like a month. And there are people, there's one wiki, which I know we're going to put on the website, that is literally a community dedicated to solving these. And their 2014 one, they're still stuck on like one of the very early puzzles in 2014. And they're, a large group of people. So, okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and I want to start out on 2012 with the fact that in the 2000s, there was this thing that was really, really popular called alternate reality games. Do you guys remember those?
No.
Okay, so actually Bungie, the creators of the Halo series, used one of these to promote Halo 2 before its release in, I think, 2005, I think is when it came out. They released this game called I Love Bees that was a game that was a game inside the Halo universe. So it was a game that you played in an alternate reality.
Okay.
So these were really popular, and the way that these were often promoted or released was the same kind of way that 3301 made their presence known first. You would release an image, or basically a taunt, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I don't think that's the right word I'm looking for. A tease, maybe.
A hint?
Yeah, a clue of some kind, and then then they would drop the game, and everybody would be like, "Oh, that's so cool! We're gonna play this game," and it's like an alternate reality. Yeah. So a lot of people initially thought that this was just like a really complex ARG. The image that was posted, people started to try and decode the picture, which is the really easy way to decode a picture, right? Is you export it as a TXT file, a text file, and there's probably some text attached to it. Oftentimes it's just a string of numbers and letters, and that's fine. Sometimes if there's an embedded message in it, it'll come up with something else. And actually, when you downloaded this first picture as a TXT file, they got what's called a Caesar cipher, which Joe, I know, knows what it is. And
we've talked about Caesar
we've talked about it a little bit, and I'll remind people of it in just a second. But it says Tiberius Claudius Caesar says, and then a string of kind of ASCII type numbers, letters, symbols.
Wow, talk about making it easy.
Well, okay. So this type of cipher, the Caesar cipher, it's just like, it's the one where you just bump letters over a certain number, kind of. And you use the pad of Tiberius Caesar cipher, whatever. Anyways, so people decoded this message. They were like, this is super easy. This is awesome. This is a fun little game for everybody to play. And it led them to a URL that contained, all that was on this URL was an image of a duck decoy that read, "Whoops, just decoys this way. Looks like you can't guess how to get the message out," which is hilarious to me.
It's trolling.
It's so much, right? So a lot of people also were like, well, this is obviously just a troll. Like, but other people, that's just so much work to go to. I mean, it's not that much work, but it's a good enough amount of work to go to just to like know that people are going to think, oh, we'll just do this thing and we're so clever. Look at us solving a mystery, and have it, not only to have that be embedded in the TXT file of the image, but to have it actually lead to a URL that actually has an image that points out how dumb people are. It's awesome to me.
If I had been setting this puzzle up, though, I would have not done that. I would not have had a decoy. I would have had more clues and more false leads, and just lead people several steps down before you finally show them the duck decoy.
I gotta be honest with you. I think that's. There's so much other stuff that goes into this whole set of puzzles that, like, that was probably all they had time for. Like, really, that's all they had time for. It turns out that you have to have a program called Outguess, which is a steganography program. Is that how you say that word?
I'm not sure how that's pronounced. It's steganography or something. But
do you know what that is?
That's when you embed messages in JPEGs or other photographs.
And you have to have this specific program to pull the messages out, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and all those things have a lot of information embedded in them. I mean, they all have like the make of the camera, the date.
It's kind of metadata.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of information about the photo, like the lens and focal length and all kinds of stuff. But there's no reason you can't put other stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people do, like terrorists, for example.
Well, yeah. So, okay, and just to be clear, you had to run that initial image. Yes, we're still talking about that first image. This is how deep this is. Through Outguess, and you got the following message. Here's a book code. To find the book and more information, go to our favorite website, Reddit. There's a subreddit. And then there's a list of numbers. And then it says, good luck, 3301. All of their messages are signed, good luck, period, 3301. This subreddit it's just full of ridiculous ciphers. Let me show you guys, and we'll link it on the website, of course. This is the subreddit. You're welcome.
What is this subreddit?
It's just ciphers.
So these are just ciphers that people have made up?
No, these are all from 3301.
Oh.
Really? And then
there's this one poster. You can see if you go through here, it's all just one poster. But it's all, you guys should go check it out. I highly encourage it. I know many of you are Redditors anyways, so just go on. Don't upvote these things. Don't do it. Anyways, it's just ciphers. And the metadata that you found by running through this one, the very first image through Outguess, sent you there. I mean, this is like crazy already, right? This is crazy already. To me, at least. I'm not great with puzzle solving and ciphers, but already it's like, this is too much work for me. Mm-hmm. Which means I'm lazy and should be weeded out, probably.
I was going to say, you get frustrated with, like, jigsaw puzzles.
It's true.
Yeah,
I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing about the string of numbers, and it could mean anything. It could mean, like, say, in a given book, say if it's a book cipher.
Oh,
well,
that's definitely a book cipher.
They outright say, this is a book code. To find the book and more information, go to...
Yeah, and then you got to solve a puzzle to find out the book. And, of course, they found out the name of the book, but what book it was. But what's interesting to me is that it's a series of paired numbers. There's a number, colon, another number.
So like 1:20.
1:20 could be page 1, line 20, first character. But what's interesting, and I don't understand why they do it this way, is that you notice the first digit of every one of those paired sequences? You notice that they all grow.
Yeah, they're sequential.
They're sequential. There's no reason for that.
Oh, well, except for that's a very 3301 thing. They do this.
No, I noticed that in a lot of their ciphers that they were all doing that, and I thought, really, that's not necessary in a book code. In fact, it's probably not even a good thing if you want to have an unbreakable code.
Well,
but they don't.
They don't. They want them to be breakable. They just want them to be difficult, and also it cultivates this aura around them. It's a style. It's a stylistic choice almost, which is interesting because at this point we're so far into code writers, right, and cipher makers that we're talking about the stylistic merits of each individual code. So that's interesting. But anyways, on the subreddit, not only were all these like jumbled letters and all of that stuff, there are also 2 pictures, images, I guess. Pictures is not the right word. One was called Welcome, and the other one was called Problems. And from here on out, when we're talking about images, I'll just add they, all of them are decoded with Outguess because at this point people have figured out that's how you do it. And they all contain a thing called a PGP signature, which stands for Pretty Good Passkey Signature. You're welcome. Which basically authenticates that the images and the embedded code are coming directly from 3301. I'm not going to get into how PGP codes work. Google it if you're very curious.
It's kind of complex.
It's a little complex. It exists, and then you have to have an authentication code and
a key.
Yeah, so it's a little. Go Google it if you have questions, or you can just accept that that's a thing, whichever you prefer.
And now the thing about the PGP codes is you can't forge somebody else's PGP signature, correct?
Right. Well, and that's where the whole key thing comes in, is that they only work with a certain key, and that it's impossible to get any kind of encrypted data. As I said, go Google it if you guys have questions. I am not a computer science person.
Plus, we only have so much time.
Also, we only have so much time.
Yeah, the episodes are exactly 42 minutes, and that allows time for commercial breaks. So talk fast.
I will talk really fast.
Okay.
Welcome, the image, the code revealed in this essentially just said, hey, from now on, all of the images that come from us are going to have this passkey. Here's the key. This is how you authenticate that this stuff is from us. Problems message read, the key has always been right in front of your eyes. This isn't the quest for the Holy Grail. Stop making it more difficult than it is. Good luck, 3301. This is so kind of them, isn't it?
Always say good luck.
Yeah, it's so kind of them. Good luck to
They're
be
so
like,
supportive.
listen, you guys are making this way harder than it is. This is actually very simple. Just you guys just figure it out. Mm-hmm. It turns out that the subreddit header is some symbols which were decoded, and they gave some numbers.
The numeric sequence.
Essentially, which was a key that allowed users to decode all of the strings in the subreddit, which produced some things useful. The most useful of which was a phone number.
Ooh.
So this is where things get a little weird. You call the phone number, and you get a message. You guys want to hear what the message sounded like?
Yeah.
Very good. You have done well. There are 3 prime numbers associated with the original final .jpg image. 3301 is one of them. You will have to find the other 2. Multiply all 3 of these numbers together and add a .com on the end to find the next step. Good luck. Goodbye.
Well, that's not creepy or anything.
No, not at all.
Uh-huh.
So actually, the next little puzzle clue, this is actually very simple for them. It said that you would find there are 3 prime numbers associated with the original final JPEG image, right? It turns out it was the 3301 was one of them, which they said. The other 2 were actually the height and width of the image, which, okay, yes. It's interesting that they made the height and width prime numbers, sure, whatever. But that's pretty simple, right? Compared to like some of the other stuff that we've seen so far.
That's a simple way to hide the information. Mm-hmm. It's not a simple thing to figure out because you know that everybody is combing back through the code of the image and not looking at, when you view a image on your computer, you find it and it says file name. And it says X by X size, and it gives you the dimensions. I've had so many people just blew right by that obvious thing that you see all the time.
Sure.
Well, now
fair.
and they always put that up there. If you look at the image properties, they'll have 1205 pixels by 1200 pixels or something like that. But